What's up guys, Hardcore Horror Nerd here. Today I'm going to be talking about my horror reading material. I have a few comic books that I'm really proud that I have in my collection. Two of them I meant to show in my Halloween franchise collection video, and it totally just slipped my mind that I even had them. And then I have two just regular books. One's called Horror Movie Freak, and one is called The Ultimate Slasher Book or something like that. Here is the actual slasher book. It's called The Mammoth Book of Slasher Movies, an A to Z guide of 60 years of slasher films, and actually it also includes some zombie films and some splatter films. Like I saw Wizard of Gore in there, which is more of a splatter film. I saw Cabin Fever in there, which is, I guess you can't really, it's more of a splatter film, I guess, because of all the blood and the gore. Really good, interesting read. I've found a couple of books that are movies I already want to see off of it. One's called Hospital Massacre, and the other one's called Microwave Massacre. I have this like big thing with movies with the title with the name Massacre in it. It's just, it always interests me when a word massacre is thrown into something. I mean, it has like The Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave, Hell Night, Final Exam, Final Terror, Diary of a Serial Killer, Death Proof is in here, and it tells you, you know, its year of release, the runtime, the country of origin. These little dots right here explain how gory the movie is. It's got a section on iconic directors, so Tom Savini's in here, George Romero's in here, H.G. Lewis is in here, Felucci is in here, Wes Craven, Carpenter. It has a little section on the video nasties, and it also has a chronological order list of years of release. It starts with 1916 and goes all the way to, this book was published in 2012, so I'm assuming it ends around 2011, 2010. Can't wait to, you know, actually read about the movies. Yesterday I just kind of sat through it and read the titles of the movies, so I'm gonna kind of like highlight the movies I want to see and read more about them. Really interesting book. If you can pick it up, I really like it. Thanks to someone who gave this to me as a birthday present. Next up, I have this book. It is called Horror Movie Freak, and basically it just goes through a bunch of horror movies. It sections it out with like classics, and then you got your slashers in here, you got your demonic possessions, ghost stories. I mean, this book literally has pretty much every horror movie there is. I mean, there's The Blair Witch, there's Final Destination, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Interview with the Vampire, Dawn of the Dead, I Spit on Your Grave, The Omen, Hellraiser, Wicker Man, some Japanese horror movies, Alien, The Ruins, you know, Jaws. I would say any movie you could probably think of that is considered horror is probably in this book. Really fun book. One of my favorite things other than watching movies is reading about them. I've always had this fascination with learning about movies and like why they were made and how they were made. So I like reading material like this that explains, you know, the backstories and the origins of the book. And this actually also included Night of the Living Dead, the 1968 black and white version, the George Romero original classic. Yeah, as a DVD copy in here, so pretty cool to have that. And then what I really like about this book too is it also gives you 10 days to Halloween, some movies that you definitely should watch as you're preparing yourself for Halloween to approach. And I mean, there's in this list alone, there's Night of the Living Dead, there's Pumpkinhead, Children of the Corn, Black Christmas, Darkness Falls, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they put in the year 2003 remake. The original is actually covered in the slasher section. Another really good, interesting book to read. Again, pick it up if you can. Next, I'm going to talk about my comics. Now, I got these comics from a friend of mine, and I'm really happy she gave them to me and found them for me. And I've only read about these comics, but now that I actually have them, I'm in love with these comics. So we are going to start with the most I have, which are the series of Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. Now, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash started out as a comic, and it actually got proposed into a movie, but it's been like, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I honestly think it's a cool concept. It really is a cool concept, but I don't think it could translate into movies. But this comic is really cool. Basically, the storyline of these comics, are Freddy and Jason are fighting over the Necronomicon, and Freddy uses it for bad and Jason uses it for bad, so Ash has to stop him. So I got issue number 6. I have issue number 5. Issue number... Oh, this is the sequel series. It's called The Nightmare Warriors. So that's also it's a sequel to just the original Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. This was actually released by Dynamite Comics. So I also have issue number 4 of Freddy vs. Jason, issue number 5 of The Nightmare Warriors, issue number 4 and 3, 4, 5, and I think 6, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of The Nightmare Warriors. I've only read a couple of these so far, but I've loved what I read. Not very like superhero comic booky type of fan, but comics like this I will definitely read and check out because I love horror movies, and this was actually a really interesting series to me, and I'm really glad I got them because it's something I've only read about, and to own them makes me really happy and nerdy. And then my final 2 comic books I am really proud that I have in my collection. Like I said earlier, I probably should have shown these in my Halloween franchise video, but totally slipped my mind that they were even in my possession. And they are the Halloween comics from Chaos Comics. Now, if you don't know anything about these books, these comics, the writer for Curse of Michael Myers also proposed a sequel to Halloween H20, which was going to focus on Tommy Wallace as an adult, and he teams up with Lindsay, and they read Dr. Loomis's notes about Michael Myers, and it's going to kind of dive into Michael Myers' background. It was a really interesting concept, but it just never got moved forward, and so the writer decided to just translate into comic books. Really awesome 2 comics. The first one is called simply titled Halloween. The second one is Halloween 2, The Blackest Eyes. I think I've read both of them. Really interesting comic from Chaos Comic. There is a third one to this, and I think it's called The Devil's Eyes. I need to find it. I haven't been able to find it yet. So really, like I said, I'm really happy I have these 2 books in my possession. Here's this one, and then this one. So yeah. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Hardcore Horror Nerd, Love of Horror on Facebook, Horror Affair on Facebook. Keep supporting the genre, keep collecting, and hail horror.